So, and I'd like to transition now to your work with the VA. And so how did that come about?
Well, it's interesting. So most people think that political appointees are friends of the president or big donors or something like that. But that was not true for me at all. At the VA, the undersecretaries kind of remember your VA structure, right? There's 3 administrations: Veterans Health Administration, the hospitals; Veterans Benefits Administration, the benefits; and cemeteries, national cemeteries. Each one of those is an administration, sort of it's a holding company with 3 main lines of business. Each one is led by an undersecretary. When Reagan signed the legislation to turn the VA into a department, in an effort to make sure that it wasn't seen as too political, the legislation required that the 3 undersecretaries would be chosen through an interview process. And so my friend sent me an email and said, there's going to be, it's called a commission. The law calls this out. Resumes are fielded by this group that's appointed to this temporary job. They screen it, they interview candidates and make a recommendation to the secretary, who in turn makes a recommendation to the White House. So he said, why don't you apply? So I figured, sure, friend at college should do this. You say, sure, what the heck? Figuring to get thousands of resumes. How could I possibly be chosen? But I would have told my friend I did that, right? So I applied, and I think that's kind of interesting. About 6 weeks later, I get an email from the VA saying, come on over and interview. So I went over and interviewed. It was like the Star Chamber room, huge room, me sitting at the front, everyone, 12 people in chairs asking me a scripted question.
Oh, 12 people.
Yeah, 12 people. And it's all pretty much, what would you do this? How did you think about this? What would you do? So you really, had to think about it. About 2 weeks later, I got asked to go interview with the secretary. Been a few minutes with the secretary. Then early in January 2018, I got an email from the White House saying, hey, we'd like you to join the administration, fill out all these legal documents and FBI kind of background checks and do whatever. And so after that was all passed, then comes the intent to nominate. The president announces he's going to nominate you. And then you go through confirmation hearing. So end to end, took about 9 months to kind of go through. Yeah, it can be kind of pretty arduous. I mean, the disclosure information, the background checks. I mean, not like I had a whole lot to hide, but it's still, you got to write all this out and do all this stuff. And they do poke and prod, so.
Yes. Is it the SF-86 form? Is that
I don't even know. Just so many forms, and this is terrible because it seems like there's many questions that are the same. Do you know what I'm saying? But there's a special form to do it, and half of them have to be certified. So you got to go find notarized. You got to go find the UPS guy in the middle of the night to notarize it. And you've done the wrong form. So you got to do it again and again and again, so it's just, you really got to want to serve sometime. It felt like, Yeah.
That's interesting. Was there any particular question that they asked you that was like, man, that's tough?
No, but there is a funny story though, because what they do is they say, you're going to be interviewed by the FBI. Well, perhaps you and other listeners have gotten a clearance. So, okay, so it takes 15 minutes. They ask you, support the United States. Yeah. So they say you should allocate 3 hours. So I'm 3 hours ago. That's okay, sure, but I'm not that interesting. So I'm happy to kind of do whatever. So I have this very efficient agent, and she's going me through that. And she goes, all right, have you ever been arrested? And I go, well, no, but don't you know the answer to that question? And she says, yes, but you'd be surprised how many people lie to us on that question, right? So there was this notion of, it's pretty much, you have to be comfortable telling everybody everything about stuff, and dealing with it. So I didn't find that onerous. I just was sort of understood this was kind of what's required to serve in this position.